I've been using the OnePlus Pad 3 for a bit now, and we have a lot to talk about. Hey there, this episode of Some Gadget Guy is brought to you by viewers like you. Yes, you, all of the amazing folks sharing content across social media, and the generosity of my patrons at patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. More info on those awesome nerds later in the video. Yeah, the folks at OnePlus sent this my way to test drive and share my thoughts. This is the OnePlus Pad 3, and they sent it along with the new folio case. That got kind of messy right there. The new keyboard case, and it does work with last year's OnePlus Stylo too. Part of the conclusion right at the top of this video. This is easily one of the best tablets available, and it might just be the best premium bang for buck in North America. What if we took the OnePlus Pad 2, which was already a champ, just made it a little bit bigger and a little bit nicer, because it's not a radical redesign, but almost everything here is getting a touch-up, and it contributes to an overall experience that's getting closer and closer to replacing laptops. OnePlus is moving just a bit up the food chain in terms of price, but, well, actually, you know what? We're gonna save that. More on that later in the video. Starting off with the design, it's bigger. We're going from a 12.1-inch display to a 13.2-inch screen that slots it somewhere in between a Galaxy Tab Plus and a Galaxy Tab Ultra. The overall frame is flatter around the sides and stays decently thin. OnePlus walked away from the circular camera housing, which I kinda liked, in favor of a smaller corner module. Power button and volume keys are mounted right at this top edge. No fingerprint security, it's all gonna be face unlock or password. Overall, just a really clean look, a really pretty device, and you can get it in any color that you want, so long as you want the color blue. I'm sorry, that wasn't even in my script. That was really corny, but genuinely, I like blue. I think blue will do me just fine with my OnePlus and my accessories. I'm just happy that it came in a color and not like black or gray or white. Some large speaker vents on all four corners, and we can highlight that part right now. There are 8 speakers, 4 pairs of higher frequency and lower frequency speaker units. The Pad 2 was good, but the audio on the Pad 3 is richer and deeper, and it plays with surround sound effects really well. Just making sure it's still on. The display is one of the nicest LCDs I've ever seen. I actually had to double check it wasn't an OLED before I got the reviewer guide and spec sheet. Max refresh up to 144 Hz, support for HDR10+ and Dolby Vision. It looks real nice. Now, I prefer OLED, but a good screen is a good screen, and this is easily giving my Surface laptop a run for its money. I spent my time reviewing the entry-level model, 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gig of storage. There will be a 16:512 configuration available in some markets. I'm not exactly sure who will get those options. We might have to wait for official announcements after launch. The Pad 3 has been a champ performance-wise. We're sporting the Snapdragon 8 Elite, and it's performing where we would expect. OnePlus drew some criticisms on the Pad 2 for throttling. I can't say I found the performance poor on the Pad 2. We want to drive these things really hard, but they are passively cooled devices. OnePlus has increased the size of the vapor chambers, and that seems to help with performance consistency on the Pad 3. I'll have a full breakdown on tests and benchmarks over on the Patreon for those folks who want the bar graphs. I've been using this with audio and video content creation apps, did some file compression, photo processing. We are at a point in Android tablets where someone would need to learn a few new different apps, but you can get a stunning amount of work done on a slate like this. Fire up LumaFusion, edit and render some 4K video. It's a really easy system to get high quality results out of, and you'll get those results pretty quick. I do a lot of my writing on tablets now. It's just easier to have this follow me around the house. Android on larger screens has improved a lot, and OnePlus is bringing some custom UI elements that help with navigation and productivity too. Open Canvas from the OnePlus Open gets a little polish, and it fits really well here on a tablet. I like how simple OnePlus has made gestures dragging and dropping files and images with their dock and their folder setup. Of course, we can tap and pair a OnePlus phone on the keyboard. There's a little NFC chip right there, or we can pair it quickly in settings. And every manufacturer is working towards that kind of synergy between all of their devices. But OnePlus is also looking at the computer side, and there will be new Mac and Windows apps that sync up your tablet with your PC or laptop. The gaming situation has been great. I really didn't have any issues on my OnePlus Pad 2, and the OnePlus Pad 3 is just a bit beefier. I've been grabbing those free games from Epic, and of course, if you want to game more seriously and you have a decent data connection, I've also been putting a lot of time on my Game Pass streaming subscription. Now, what's funny is we can compare some games like Grid Legends, and I think it actually looks a bit better when rendered natively, but that will obviously take a bigger chunk out of your battery than if you stream a game like that. Suffice it to say, mobile gaming is at an interesting crossroads right now, where we have a ludicrous amount of compute power in these devices, and it's also never been easier to offload graphics-intense gaming. Say you run the game from a beefy workstation type computer and then stream it over something like Steam Link, or you go straight up to the cloud with Nvidia or Game Pass. I really think game developers are gonna need to get a bit savvier about where their games are published and what platforms they're bringing their games to. I think audiences looking at a premium purchase like this are also starting to tighten up the purse strings a bit. Maybe a really nice tablet, if it can also game, might continue to take the place of more expensive console purchases in the near future. I think every household right now, we're all making some pretty tough decisions about what to do with our entertainment budgets. But when you are trying to run this just a little bit harder, you might be concerned about the battery life. And the extra screen size here is put to great use because we get a significant increase in battery capacity over the Pad 2, from around 9,500 milliamp hour to over 12,000 milliamp hour. And we not only keep 80-watt charging, but the charger is in the box. I love to see that. Runtime is noticeably improved over the Pad 2. Even with the larger screen, a 30% increase in capacity is real big. I mean, also even for the thirstier chip over last year's Pad. This brings a bigger battery capacity than a 13-inch iPad, and it's a hair bigger than the Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra, with faster charging than either Samsung or Apple will provide. I was always a little surprised when I would get to the end of a movie and see how much battery got chewed up on my OnePlus Pad 2 or on my Xiaomi Pad. There's a bit more room for activities now. And I do want to take a quick look at the accessories. The new folio case is nice. It flips and folds. I think folks are familiar with these little tablet stand cases, but it is nice to see more options for angles and orientation. The keyboard case is another nice upgrade over the Pad 2's keyboard. This is still a two-piece solution. The rear cover with the kickstand now has a new visible hinge, and it is a little sturdier than the Pad 2's kickstand. I think it's still really easy to pop this off the back. The magnets are a little more secure than they were last year, but you have to be careful not to support the whole weight of the tablet from this stand when you go to pick it up. The keyboard connects with pogo pins now located on the rear of the tablet, and there's a little latch that holds both pieces together when the whole thing is closed up. The keys have a nice action to them, just a little more tactile response than the Pad 2 keyboard, and I like that the trackpad is larger than what we normally see on Android device accessories. Since the screen is a bit bigger, we have more space for keys and trackpad. And this is a small touch, but the rigid frame in the front of the trackpad is one of my favorite ergonomic improvements over the Pad 2. I would rest my thumb on the front edge, and that could sometimes cause the trackpad to skip, or I'd get the occasional mistap or mistouch, and that's gone now. As I move the cursor, and if my thumb is resting in front, no issues anymore, no accidental screen selections or cursor jumps. When open, the tablet rests on the little lip here, and that helps the keyboard stay connected if you try to slide the whole thing around on your desk. But if you just pull a little bit, you can still pretty easily detach both pieces. If that happens, the keyboard can switch over to Bluetooth. It's a trick I saw first on the Robo and Kala, and it was super handy on the Surface tablets. It's a handy flexibility feature. You can put the slate where you need it and control it where you want it. And it's a nice little design touch that the keyboard has a divot to tuck the pogo pins away. It it looks cleaner when used wirelessly. Just like the Pad 2 though, I wish the keys were backlit. It's really the only bit missing from an otherwise complete accessory. And the Pad 3 is compatible with the same Stylo 2 pen as the Pad 2, and I'm happy that something is compatible. I knew because of the size differences, it wasn't gonna be like we could recycle accessories from the Pad 2. So at least for the pen, I hate it when Apple makes different pens for different tablets. I hope that's something that OnePlus continues to design around. Accessories that can live beyond a single phone or a single tablet. The Stylo 2 is a great active pen. I enjoy the odd little doodle. It plays nice with Sketchbook, my favorite art app, and OnePlus keeps tacking on the extras like double tapping to switch tools in Notes, or pulling the stylus while the screen is off so you can jot down a quick note. The presentation mode is pretty slick. You squeeze to fire up the laser pointer and double tap to draw on the display. Again, these are all things that we've seen in the premium space, but it's just nice to see OnePlus adding more and more of that functionality. I mentioned at the top of this that there is a price hike. This is more expensive than last year's model, and I think that should have been expected in this current market, not only from global instability, but also the improvements here. We know the 8 Elite is a more expensive chip from Qualcomm. The speakers are better, the battery is bigger, and all of those little bits and pieces, they add up. But I find it encouraging that looking just at MSRP, this is still doing battle with and undercutting the Tab S10 Plus. This right here, the keyboard, the tablet, and the pen, MSRP, putting this whole kit together, we're right at $1,000, $999.97. And that feels about right for a really nice tablet. This whole setup battles well against laptops, and it meets the Tab S10 Plus with almost no compromises for a 256 gig tablet. Of course, talking Samsung, especially when people point out deals and trade-ins, OnePlus offers trade-ins and student pricing and deals too. At launch, first publishing this video, there is a bonus where you can get 2 free gifts worth up to $300. So for the price of the tablet, you could also tack on the keyboard and the Stylo 2. That puts a lot more pressure on a Galaxy Tab. Or kitting out an iPad Air with a stylus and a keyboard is over $1,300. I feel we often move goalposts around on certain companies that are allowed to charge more for products, and we kind of overlook some options that are fighting really hard. Techies seem to remember the flagship killer days of OnePlus, but keep dismissing this current era of OnePlus, where they make feature for feature premium gadgets but are still able to undercut Samsung, Google, and Apple prices. I really don't think the brand gets enough credit for how competitive this gear is. The OnePlus Pad 3 is an excellent example of that competition. There's very little here to separate a Galaxy or iPad, and you'll spend a lot more to get a few additional features, like memory card expansion. I really wish the OnePlus Pad 3 had a memory card slot, but I could also tack on a really nice USB-C laptop hub with a memory card reader and still undercut the price of a similarly configured Galaxy Tab while getting more ports to play with. You haven't lived until you've hooked up your Android to the internet over Ethernet. I'm reluctant, I'm loath to deliver a conclusion on a product while I've only used it in an embargo state. I think it's stupid to call something a review before you've used it with software that actual customers, that actual consumers will see. But knowing how well OnePlus has been pushing out updates over the last couple years, I think we're in for a treat here too. I don't think it's crazy, right from the jump, right from this very beginning, to consider this one of, if not the best, tablet purchase in North America. Like the OnePlus Pad 2, I expect the Pad 3 will be giving my laptop a lot of competition for my attention. So I will, of course, leave some links down below where you can find more information on the OnePlus Pad 3, maybe shop one of these bad boys online. If you're catching this video early, shortly after the product was announced, you really want to jump on those sales and deals and combos, links down in the description. Now, I love getting to break this stuff in, and the folks who get to see the results of my testing and comparisons, my editorials, first are, of course, my amazing patrons. All of the people over on patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This list of names scrolling by on your screen right now, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart, as these are the folks that are helping to keep the lights on here in the Gadget Lab. And they get exclusive access to all them fancy bar graphs I was talking about if you really want to see what this tablet can do under some really demanding workloads. They're basically the coolest tech pals in the universe, so I hope you'll check them out. I hope you will consider joining the community at patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. Now, you know where you can find me across the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy, pretty much everywhere. But these days, I'm trying to spend a bit more time on the Mastodons, a little on the Blue Skis, and a lot less so on the Facebooks, the Threads, the Instagrams, and none at all on that dumpster fire site. And I will catch you all on the next video.